Hey everybody, welcome into Northern Life. Thanks for being with us on this Friday. So happy to have you at the end of our week, the last one before the Christmas week.
I can't believe how fast that's coming along. Hopefully everyone's got the presents going. Let's go.
Getting towards the end of 2024. And today, all sorts of football news to get to. We'll be discussing Christmas and holiday traditions too, both here and in the great city of Chicago. And who better to discuss that than today's guest co-host, our Northern News Now co-worker, Alexis Bass.
What's up, Alexis?
Thanks for
Guys,
joining us on the program.
I'm so glad to be back.
Now remind me that I think the last time you were here was at the coffee episode where you did your coffee.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the
we
sampling.
were the
Yeah.
coffee. Yeah, we need a Christmas version.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could prolong it after break. It's Christmas all the time.
Easy.
It's still winter time.
It always is.
Alexis, let's just get right into the NFL news. A Bears fan. You were at Monday night's
I was.
Bears-Vikings tilt. What's it like, that experience,
Well,
watching your Bears?
if I'm being honest, I was bleeding purple internally.
Oh,
you were?
because,
Wow.
Of course. There it is. Look at nothing like the skull chant. My mom had to learn the skull for the very first time to see Cindy Bass pop up here. But I will say it felt like I couldn't lose in this game. I mean, the Bears didn't look perfect. It was kind of an anticlimactic game. But hey, now the Vikings are in a three-way tie for the race in the NFC.
That's pretty huge.
It's big stuff. And it was pretty special, it looks like, to have your parents, from the
It
Chicago area
was.
be there at US
It was the
Bank.
first time they'd ever been there. They were really like two kids in a candy store. So
Aw.
definitely put big smiles on my faces. I said, ooh, we got to put this in the future present idea book.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
back here, of course.
Well, that'd be a great idea.
Was
Well,
it?
you guys have been to the bank before, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
it's
it's a
fantastic.
beautiful
It is
stadium.
nothing
It's
like
loud.
some of this.
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
come on.
Especially when
Wow.
we're winning.
The
Yes.
acoustics are
Yeah.
bananas.
How were the whiteout? Was it very? Did a lot of folks have
a
whites?
lot. Yeah, and
okay.
I was slightly bummed though. Normally when that happens, they have the fake snow that comes down, and
Really?
they
Right.
didn't this time.
Oh, that's
but
too bad.
yeah, the whiteout was whiting out. Yeah, was
It turned out
happening.
pretty well.
I
So
don't
any
know how
folks
to make
that-
that a verb.
Any folks at US Bank watching our show, be sure to get that fake snow back. But we wanted to provide you a place today, Alexis, where, since you're a Bears fan, maybe get some frustrations out. Maybe share what's wrong with your team. How do you move forward and fix this squad?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. But I will say, every year, of course, back in the era I grew up when the Bears were good, it was the Devin Hester era, it was the Brian Urlacher era.
The Jay Cutler era?
The Jay
Sure.
Cutler. I mean, he was our last longest tenured
Yeah.
QB1, I believe. But I think it all comes down to there's some divisiveness in the front office. I mean, if you cannot develop your rookie QB, that talent that comes in that you hope to be the face of your franchise, you're not going to be moving along.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
seemed to be the struggle for the last several years. I think we've had 3 different head
Yeah.
coaching changes in about a decade.
And, Trubisky, Fields, and now Williams.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Fields, he might be QB2 in Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
he's developed pretty well.
Yeah.
And you look at, when the Vikings did a clean slate with KOC and Kwesi coming in, they were really able to figure things out. So I
Right.
think
Yeah.
we need to say sayonara to everybody and help Caleb Williams develop, because his numbers
Sure.
aren't as bad as he's showcasing, but
Yeah.
he's got to have the supporting cast, and he doesn't.
Yes, I've often said throughout this whole season, I mean, I think the Bears might be the best of the worst teams that are out there right now.
That's
Because
the way to put it.
Well, I mean, they almost beat all 3 of us
The best
in
and
the
the
NFC
worst,
North.
give it up for the
Yeah, they
Bears.
are.
They're
They have
best in the discount pile at the department store.
Obviously, the record does not show that whatsoever.
Right,
but I
right.
mean, they almost beat all 3 of us. And honestly,
Yeah.
they didn't do too bad against us this past time. We
Yeah.
should have destroyed
I
them.
know. They put up a bit of a fight. They do have
Yes.
some good weapons, but you got to be able to marry all of them. And
Right.
So
you
you
don't
think
have a good marriage right now.
clean house is what you say,
I
except for
think
Caleb
so,
Williams.
Too.
Well,
I think so.
I
Okay.
think a lot of fans are with Alexis here. I'm glad you're here today because we have a couple TikToks to share from your fellow Bears fans out there. So some people have been posting how they're coping with watching their team lose. Our first gentleman here for the past number of weeks has decided to run a mile for every point the Bears lose by in those
goodness.
games. And so right after that Monday game, he started his 17-mile run on his treadmill after that late end to the Bears loss in prime
Wow,
time.
that's dedication. I can't say that I'll do that. I do enjoy running, but 17 miles is
Yeah.
beyond my cap.
And the Bears, I believe, facing the Detroit Lions, one of the best offenses coming up this weekend. So that gentleman could be running a couple
I mean,
laps.
I would run miles for Dan Campbell. I'd run through a brick wall for
Yeah.
that man.
Yeah,
He,
motivational guy.
he is fantastic. Like his post-game reactions and chats inject in my veins, please.
Let me ask you this.
Put
I'm
it in my
sure-
coffee.
I'm sure you don't know off the top of your head, but what is the biggest deficit that the Bears have lost by this season? Was that it, this past game with the
No.
Vikings? Because that guy probably had to run a lot more miles than
No.
17 at some point.
It feels like a lot of L's because we've taken a lot of L's.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
I don't know either.
That's a question for the commercial break.
Yes.
We do our
Let's do
Google
our
commercial
research.
break.
Sure,
Let's get to our next guy who back on Monday decided to eat a burrito for every sack the Chicago Bears gave up. I think it was, fortunately for him, only a couple times this week, including that strip sack. However, quarterback Caleb Williams has been sacked a franchise record 58 times so far
Oh,
this season.
goodness. That guy needs a break. Needs
Yes.
an ice bath. Maybe Lake Superior.
Let's get from the bad news to some great news. May have been a tough game to watch there at the bank for Alexis Bass here, but however, you got to meet Minnesota legend in the making, Kirill Kaprizov
You
at the bank.
guys, there he is. I'm next to my college roommate. I came down there to visit her, sitting right behind the end zone, and I said, Haley, do you know who's sitting behind you? And I kept my cool, but I will say, you know, you wear a reporter hat, and that justifies everything talking to athletes. But as a fan, so different. I truly sat there the entire third quarter. I did not know how to build up the courage or how to make some UMD hockey connections. So
Right.
I did so. I talked about how Aaron Pionk is a wild draft pick. He's coming to you. Do you know the Pionks? I kind of failed, and I think the language barrier was a bit hard.
Sure.
But he was kind enough to take a picture, and I'm
Oh.
truly fangirling. I mean, you have one of the best players
And
in
on
the
the Minnesota
entire
Wild.
NHL,
Yes.
the leading goal scorer. So just, you know, hanging out at the Vikings with his brother and his dad. So.
He didn't just blow you off or tell you to get lost?
No, but I think he got a little tired. Everyone was
Just
asking him for
Sure.
pictures.
You had to awkwardly sit there after talking with him too?
No, I decided to bounce. I
Okay, that was good.
strategically planned it out.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yep.
That's a good idea. You know, in those situations too, you go, well, I'll sit here for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
Now it's awkward.
Skull
Yeah.
Wild is what I had
Yeah,
to
there we
do.
go. There we go.
Well, hey, coming up, we're going to be talking about Christmas with Alexis here as she shares her favorite family memories. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We talked about the Vikings. We haven't really talked about the Packers yet, but for Lions fans out there, there's a one-of-a-kind experience for Detroit Lions fans at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa in Michigan. It's a Detroit Lions-themed room from the moment
my
you walk through the
goodness.
door, featuring custom decor with signature blue and silver. You got helmets, framed photos, official licensed gear from the Lions. That suite is designed to bring the Ford Feel experience to Northern Michigan.
How cool is that?
Wow, Merry Detroit Lions Christmas.
Yes. Are you? I'm assuming you're happy for the Detroit Lions.
Oh, you have to root for them.
Everyone
How can
has
you
to be,
not?
right?
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Exactly.
you absolutely have to root for them.
Until the Vikings can get the 1 seed, then I
Yes.
might not root for them.
Get out of there.
Well, the Vikings trump all in this situation.
Sure.
But
Well, let's get to Christmas. Alexis, what is Christmas like in the Bass household? Do you have any traditions, things you do every
we
single
do.
year?
I think it's changed over the years as we've gotten older, and you know, unfortunately, I lost my grandparents. However, we always have matching Christmas pajamas. That was a City
Aw.
Bass
Nice.
tradition, you know, starting years back. And then Christmas Day, that's Christmas Eve, right before we go to church. But Christmas Day is pretty chill. My dad's always cooking in the kitchen. I call him a scientist in the kitchen.
Oh.
He's always, you know, mixing something
Chef
together.
Bass.
Truly,
There we
yeah.
go.
Homemade noodles every Christmas. It's a like meat of his choice. We got the Costco shrimp.
Whoa.
A homemade dessert of any kind. So yeah, and then my mom makes brunch, but nothing out of the old. It's pretty chill. That's kind of how we like it.
Nice.
This year for Christmas Eve we have a new. It's not a tradition, but it's a surprise to my parents, so I can't reveal
Whoa.
it.
Oh.
But we did say Kaylee and I are planning the Christmas Eve shenanigans.
Nice.
So take off the hat, take a seat.
We might have to invite Chef Bass onto this show. and do
You
some-
guys should. He could teach you a thing or
Yeah,
two.
Does he ever cook bass?
Oh.
Is that something that he
That's a
I
does?
good
don't think he
question.
has, but he used to go halibut fishing with my grandpa in Alaska a couple
Oh.
of years in a row, a while back.
Okay.
But so we would cook a whole lot of that. But
Oh, that sounds yummy.
yeah, we have a great time in the Bass household. We got our annual Bass Blizzard Bash. We'll have a whole lot of people coming over on Saturday, so tomorrow. That will
Oh
be
my
really, really
gosh.
exciting.
Good stuff. Well, Alexis here sent me these wonderful photos and included, I thought we should just have this be its own sort of talker piece.
no.
Maybe one of the most amazing charcuterie boards I have ever seen.
Whoa.
Can you describe who is making these
Yeah.
absurd in a good way charcuterie
Our family
boards?
friend, our neighbor growing up, her name is Mrs. Hegmaster, and she's done this every year, you guys. It's like an art. I said she needs to open up her own business.
Yes.
Like too pretty to eat.
Like
you
the
know what
salami
I mean?
roses in the middle there?
I know, immaculate. You got the bird's eye view there.
Oh.
I just.
that
There's
a cactus?
nothing wrong with
a
a
Christmas
Oh, it's a tree.
There's the tree hunter. You
There
can
it
get
is.
There we
You
go.
You got
Okay,
the star up
star
there.
Star on
Yeah.
top.
Has she ever said how long it takes her to make one of those?
No, but I should ask her and I can
Yeah.
report back to you guys. I think Saturday she'll have another version of it. So I'll have another edition of a picture.
Send us an update. I want to see what's going on.
I feel like with those charcuterie boards, I've been tasked with making one time, and I bought like $100 worth of things. I'm like, this thing's going to be full. And then I fill it together. I'm like, it's a tiny bowl.
Okay, but you know how to crack the code of the expenses
I
of
do not.
Charcuterie Board? I'm not sponsoring them, but Aldi is
Aldi is
a
great.
phenomenal place for crackers, whether it's gluten-free or, you know, all the full gluten or any of the cheeses.
Gluten fans out there.
I try and say that way. And any cheeses. I love goat cheese. They got blueberry goat cheese.
Ooh.
They have, oh my goodness, it's like a cookie goat cheese. The list goes on. A gingerbread goat cheese.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Ooh.
about.
Unfortunately,
Fantastic.
Aldi is not one of our sponsors, and we've lost all our other
Well,
sponsors.
hey,
Everybody's
now's
turned
your
the TV off.
opportunity, right? But it's
Exactly.
a perfect place
Aldi,
to
if
keep
you're
it,
watching.
Come on, Aldi, hop on board.
budget the charcuterie board.
Show us your cheese. Alexis Bass from the Windy City area, Chicago,
right.
one of the best cities to spend the holiday season. As someone who grew up not too far away, what are some of the best things that maybe somebody wants to go to Chicago for the holiday season?
Yeah, actually, this was a couple years ago. We did curling. It didn't work out the way that in my brain the specific curling works. But yeah, there's our version of the Rockefeller Cheery in Chicago. There's always the Kris Kringle Market. Truly just walking around Chicago when it's dark out and seeing all the lights, seeing the windows that are dressed to impress, of course. I obviously love to just coffee shop hop around there. But you can't go wrong. I know the Bears actually welcome the Lions on Sunday, so I'm sure a boatload of people will be down there. But it really is a Christmas city,
Yeah.
for sure.
Is it usually a white Christmas in Chicago, or are
Not
there
every
some years
time.
not every single
Hunter,
year?
I need you to forecast better for Chicago.
Get some snow down
Give us
there.
some snow. We didn't have the snow in the bank. We don't have snow in Chicago.
dang
Might have to buy the fake snow this year.
There we go. Yeah, push it on out.
But I love a white Christmas. Normally we've had that growing up. The last couple years it's been a little dry.
Yeah, it's been a little iffy, that's for sure.
Well, earlier we're talking about how Alexis Bass here met one legend, Kirill Kaprizov, but maybe you met someone even more famous. You got to meet Buddy the Elf the other
Yeah,
year.
last
Whoa.
Christmas we were in a Christmas bar in Wrigleyville, and they dress up all of these different bars in the area to be literally Christmas head to toe. You guys couldn't miss a mark. And I walked and I said, oh my goodness, is that Will Ferrell? And I did 18 double takes. No, it was a lookalike, and this is what he does that time of year. So he was doing all of the, I couldn't even remember. But
What's your favorite color and all those
yeah.
lines?
Yes, and he did something with a drink. I can't even remember, but it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh,
Have you seen the Buddy the Elf yard decoration that people can get at Home Depot?
No,
We
but-
showed it early on the show
yeah,
prior.
it's scary.
It's like a life-size Buddy the Elf person
Oh
you put in
my
your yard and it
goodness.
talks.
Wow.
Yeah. I would
end up
Count yourself
tackling
as
it.
extra blessed at Christmas if that's in your
Yes.
yard.
It's a little creepy, so and we some folks love the inflatables for their yard too.
Yes.
Me, I don't have a yard,
No.
so we'll have to. I'm going to buy Buddy the Elf for my house.
There we go.
Well, hey, coming up after the break, we're going to be talking more sports. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks. Our amazing evening director, Ryan Scourge, is really good at going through old videos, archives. He's got a whole project going. And recently, since Alexis is here, and I guess to do a number of broadcasts with the great, legendary Tom
my favorite
Hansen.
person.
Oh my gosh, he's the best. He found this old promo photo of Tom from KBGR 6.
Look at
Just
the
a
one and
stud.
only.
What a stud!
Oh my goodness.
That's got to be late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. I mean, I totally remember growing up watching him on TV, and we're all part of a group on Facebook that Ryan posts a lot of old videos, old promos from the 70s onward of just the coolest stuff ever. And this is one of those things where it's just very cool to see what it was like back in the day, and what a stud Tom Hansen
And you
is.
guys do volleyball
Yeah,
together?
we call volleyball together. We've done some women's hockey games together. I mean, Tom was my first teacher when I first got here.
Really?
Wow.
Up on the weekends, he was going ahead and showing me how to, do all the things and whatnot. But he is one of the greatest humans on the planet.
Is he as nice as he seems?
I promise you.
He seems
yes.
like one of the nicest
He
human
does
beings.
it all. I don't know how he does it. He also produces our men's and women's hockey broadcasts
Wow.
behind the scenes. He calls football. I mean, truly, you guys, he does everything. You name something in sports, Tom Hansen's name is right next to it.
Here's a funny thing that I didn't realize until I met Tom was that Tom went to college with my aunt.
That's
Oh,
right.
really?
We
Yeah.
found that out this past
Yeah,
weekend
that
at
was
our
pretty
work
funny.
party.
I did not know that until I got up here. So
Weird.
we have that connection over that
What
too.
a cool
It's
coincidence.
a small world. It's a small place.
Small
It is.
world. Well, hey, we talked about this the other day, but I have the video to share now. Hunter and I got to go up the shore to Two Harbors to do some
so
curling.
jealous.
We're both still a little sore. We are alive, but if you're looking for something, maybe something something new and fun to try this winter, why not give curling a shot? We're going to share that full story next month here on Northern Life.
Hey,
Guys,
Bass.
why didn't you take me with?
I don't know if you remember, but maybe
Yes, we went together.
3 years ago.
Yes,
We went to this
right
place
before the Olympics.
Yes,
We went to
me,
the
you,
Olympics.
Samantha
Kenny
Bassarico,
J,
Kenny
yeah.
J, and it was such a blast. So that was fun back then, and now
We have to go back.
we should. We need to go back up
We can
there.
make a league team.
Oh, that'd be
And you
awesome.
guys know that Duluth hosts the Curling Nationals
Yeah.
in January 2025, right around the corner.
Team
Wow.
Schuster. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Good stuff. From curling to the hardwood for basketball fans out there like me, love watching the NBA. However, the league's viewership is apparently on a downward trend. That's according to Sports Media Watch. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has acknowledged that television ratings for his sport are down this season, but said the dip did not equate to a lack of interest in pro basketball.
Then what does it mean? Why is there a dip?
Here's
That's interesting.
my take on this. I'll share
Okay.
my take.
Okay.
It is so hard. My mom had this issue with watching the Minnesota Twins this past season. Is watching it, with the Bally Sports North. That was the issue prior. I think, for someone like me, I'm not going to spend all the money necessarily on those big packages
Right,
to
the
watch
streaming
sports.
platforms.
Yeah, the streaming platforms.
Yeah,
I think
yep.
that's my issue with watching NBA or MLB games. At
Yeah,
the
you
current
want it to be
moment.
accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So do you think it's a trend for all sports now that they're going onto these streaming services that we start to see a downturn in viewership?
I don't know.
It'll be something to
because, well,
see.
the NFL games on Christmas Day, I believe, are on Netflix.
Which will be interesting, especially with the streaming issues with the Mike Tyson fight and all that stuff. Who knows what's going to happen with
I
this?
don't know. I know.
the
Even on
quality's down.
Thursday Night Football being on Amazon Prime, I know they're making boatloads of money, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do miss the old days when it
Yeah.
was just on. Everything was on the same channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the accessibility is a factor for me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Minnesota Wild again quickly. They're off to a hot start this season. And I got to say, it actually feels nice to see a number of our Minnesota teams thriving this year, like the Vikings, the Wild, even the Lynx.
And
who,
knock on wood, just
yeah, true. Knock on wood. Yeah, we got
just-
the Lynx, almost won the championship, and hopefully my Minnesota Timberwolves too.
Boy, that'd be fantastic. It's rare to see many Minnesota teams doing well, but let's keep her going. Come on, let's go Minnesota.
Did the Loons do well this year? The
Yeah,
Suck team?
they did.
Yeah.
So just skull Minnesota sports.
All together. Hey, we're going to talk about the amazing stories coming your way next week when we come back.
Coming up Monday here on Northern Life, we're joined by Crystal from Babbitt, Minnesota. She's going to be making us her award-winning quiche that took home a nationwide prize thanks to Campbell's. We'll also share her recipe when we see you next week. And I
gosh,
got to
I'm
say,
hungry.
it was absolutely amazing. And as Ryan's going to show you right now, print it
Hand
on
that
the
over to
side.
Alexis.
Look at this, Alexis. Print
Get
it
a
on the side.
free can of cream of mushroom soup for you over there.
Way.
Nationally, it's on these Campbell's cans.
Can you guys sign it for me too?
We'll get her to sign
Get
it.
Crystal back in here to sign,
Yes.
sign the Campbell's can.
That's so cool. I mean, I feel like this is just such a diverse. What am I trying to say?
It's
It can be used for a lot of things.
Yes.
There we go.
You can use it for
Hard, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It is. It's the secret ingredient in so many
yes,
different
ingredients, a
different
lot of
dishes.
recipes. Maybe not Christmas cookies, but we'll take
not
it.
cookies.
Not cookies.
Gross.
Coming up on Tuesday quickly for next week's Blindfold, Hunter and I working to see who can make the best gingerbread house. But instead of
Uh-oh.
gingerbread, we're using graham crackers. It's a special two-parter coming your way on Tuesday.
That was a
It got
blast.
messy.
It sure did.
Say the
yes.
least.
These are making me hungry.
Yes, it was super good. Well, Alexis, thanks for hanging out with
Thank
us here
you
today.
guys.
Oh my gosh, we got to
So
do
much
this more
fun.
often.
Yes, run it back in 2025.
There we go. I like that plan.
Should be a
Such
great
blast.
new year soon for us. Well, thank you all for being here with us this week. We love you. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great and relaxing weekend.
Find some time to throw a line or just head outside to unwind. That's the life in the great North Woods. Hike or bike, whatever you like. Get out in the day, enjoy the night. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, this is Northern Life.